2023 has been a blessing for video games. The video game industry served us up a delicious stack of pancakes this year with release after release. Smeared with heaps of butter and slathered in syrup, of course. The best part? Each game had something unique or promising to give us. Gamers were able to sink their teeth into 2D platforming, swing through New York, promising new RPGs, and even some oldies that were remade with the intent of delivering on modern gaming. So buckle up, restrain your inner degen, and celebrate with me as we get a top 10 that will knock your socks off. Number 10. Cocoon. From the mind that helped create Inside and Limbo came a new title that aimed to pull away from the platforming elements of its predecessors and focus more on puzzle storytelling. Cocoon drops you in the middle of a foreign planet as a bug-like thing and dares you to move ahead. Figure out the world and how it works while slowly peeling away back a story that is left to the player's interpretation. Sound cues and intelligent level design surprises the player consistently as you explore the multiple worlds oozing with science fiction and beautiful environments. And let's be real, I love puzzle games, especially ones that don't attempt to break my brain into a million pieces, so this one was really appreciated. If you're looking for something new, mind-bending, and cohesive, give Cocoon a try. Number 9. Dead Space. Dead Space came out at a time when horror games needed something new and fresh. We had zombies, like Resident Evil 4, underwater adventures like BioShock, and heck, even games like Doom to scare you away. But Dead Space changed the landscape for gamers when a failed mission left us stranded in space against creatures that we had never seen before. Previously, headshotting was the most efficient way to deal with such enemies. But in Dead Space, they changed the formula by having you dismember creatures attempting to destroy you. That's right, limb by limb. And to make sure your enemies were dealt with, a satisfying stop mechanic was added to ensure you had achieved victory. Oh, and of course, glorious loot. Dead Space also featured one of the first UIs to keep you focused on what's in front of you. Your health and status charge were squarely on the back of Isaac, immersing you into combat. You couldn't pause and just walk away from a fight. The remake took all these elements and brought it into modern gaming. There are a few changes like Iron Man mode to smooth things out, but overall, the 2008 original has been brought to modern gaming with intense attention to detail and care. It doesn't hurt that the horror elements were also cranked up to 11. I would be lying to you if I said my heart didn't fall to my ass a few times while playing. This game is legitimately scary, but it's also a game that will complete your collection. You should really pick this one up. Number 8. Jedi Survivor. Jedi Survivor released with an unfortunate amount of bugs on the PC port. In fact, I still can't play it to this day without massive frame lag and stutters through portions of the game. It's frustrating. Which is why I have it so low on the list, as I was kind of forced to buy it again just to play on the PS5, which kind of felt bad. With that being said, when the game is running, it is brilliant. A wonderful story weaving into the Star Wars universe we all know and love. And let's be honest, I'm a sucker for good melee combat, especially when it's rewarding, and Jedi Survivor is no slouch in that regard. With a hint of Dark Souls combat, multiple lightsaber styles allow you to pick and choose how you want to wield your lightsaber, making the entire adventure your own. On top of that, Respawn really shines when they allow you to move and parkour in their games, and that is certainly the case here. Cal will climb and maneuver as needed, making it look easy with some Titanfall mechanics like wall running being on full display here. The whole cast from the first title is here, and there are some incredible jaw-dropping moments that truly make Cal's time in Star Wars universe unique. If you're a Star Wars fan and want a challenge, Star Wars Jedi Survivor is a worthy sequel of Star Wars Fallen Order. Number 7. Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat has been around for a while. In the 90s, it was causing issues with the law and getting all the blame for use doing dumb shit. In the 2000s, it was messing with the formula and trying to figure out how it could become more than a fighting game. But recently, it has become one of my favorite games to play in general. Mortal Kombat has evolved and shaped itself into a playable movie, and it's incredible. Aside from Megan Fox, who hisses for some reason, Mortal Kombat 1 is a soft reboot. Raiden no longer looks over Earthrealm. Liu Kang does, and with a reboot that he performed in the finale of Mortal Kombat 11, he has created a new environment for all previous Mortal Kombat characters to live in, and they all lived happily ever after. Or so he thought. This game is legitimately batshit crazy. You're constantly switching character story arcs, blurring the line between good and bad. If there's a reason for characters to fight, they will. and they will rip each other's heads off in the most goriest way possible. Obviously, NetherRealm Studios has perfected the gameplay movie formula. It's just an awesome ride through and through, and if you've been on the fence about getting into Mortal Kombat games, this is a great launching point. Hey, play the story mode if you have to. Just have fun. Number 6. Super Mario Bros. Wonder. 2D platforming is peak Mario to me. I like Mario Odyssey. I enjoyed Mario 64 and appreciate the strides it made in 3D platformers. But there is something simple, fun, and incredibly enjoyable to me when it comes to 2D Mario. Luckily for me, and hopefully for others, Super Mario Bros. Wonder is everything Mario should be. There are 2 ways to beat a level in Super Mario Wonder. One is the traditional way. Run through the level, get a checkpoint, find collectibles, and you're done. Clean, simple, and fun. The second way is a balls-to-the-wall adjustment to the platforms and mechanics through the means of a Wonder Flower. You'll drop into this weird Yoshi's Island trip-like sequence where the level warps in different ways, forcing Mario to play in a completely different environment. It changes the expectations on how the map is played. It's pure joy. You'll see singing flowers, rampaging Goombas, and even platforming challenges that err on the side of enjoyment rather than frustration. It's such a brilliant system. Because if you miss the Wonder Flower on the first attempt, you'll immediately go again to find the Wonder Flower just to see what developers are cooking up for you in Mario. On top of it all, they've introduced an online multiplayer, which isn't really a thing I was interested in, but I'm all for making Mario games playable for the whole family. They really nailed it out of the park with this title, and it has me more hopeful for more 2D platformers down the line. Well, actually, you can't play Yoshi in this game. Unless you want to play in baby gamer mode, which is some bullshit, so yeah, 1 out of 10.
Oh no!
Number 5, Sea of Stars. We are getting into the must-play games for me. And what I like about my top 5 is that all of them are radically different games from each other. Even if something in this top 5 isn't for you, maybe it could be in the future, so keep it in mind. Sea of Stars comes from Sabotage Studios, most famously known for The Messenger. Sabotage Studios has taken it upon themselves to bring back the feeling of playing games from the 90s, but they also incorporate a lot of modern-day gaming lessons. The results so far have been splendid, and their second title, Sea of Stars, is RPG perfection. First off, you're greeted with incredible pixel art designed to delight your eyeballs with every single scene. You're met with a fusion of mechanics from Chrono Trigger and Mario RPG, and you get a story chock full of lovable characters. This is all garnished perfectly with a soundtrack that absolutely bangs your eardrums into submission with a finesse only found by some of the best musicians in the world. Here's the best part. Some RPGs, looking at you Final Fantasy XVI, are overburdened by side quests to the point of ruining the fun. Sea of Stars never crosses that line. Everything is crafted perfectly to build upon classics while carving out a name for itself. If you even mildly enjoy RPGs, this one needs to be on your playlist. It's a perfect 30-hour banger, and it really shows what RPGs are all about. Resident Evil 4, in 4th place. Before we hop into this one, I have to admit, I'm a Resident Evil nut. I've played all the main titles, sometimes multiple times. To say that I have expectations for this game is not a hyperbole. I played the original RE4 back in 2021, 16 years after it was released. I walked away absolutely godsmacked at how enjoyable the game was. Even when compared to today's standards, it was fun. So when Resident Evil 4 Remake was announced, even with Resident Evil 1 and Resident Evil 2 remakes being massive successes, I had my doubts. How could they make a game, aside from obvious graphic updates, more enjoyable without losing the charm of the original? Well, I'm here to let you know, they did it. This is the most enjoyable Resident Evil I have played to date. With the introduction of faster enemies and a parry mechanic, combat makes Leon feel like he can take on the world, but only if he plays his cards right. The game, on hardcore mode, is one of the most balanced, fair, and fun experiences I had in gaming. If this wasn't a remake of the original, it would be higher on my list. That's the only thing that holds the game back from being a #1 slot. Add on top of that, the fantastic replayability and DLCs, and you have a recipe from Capcom that bleeds awesomeness. If you're not a fan of Resident Evil games, give this one a playthrough and your mind will be changed. Guaranteed. Number 3, HiFi Rush. I am still in love with how HiFi Rush was released into the world. A stealth release from Bethesda and Tango Gameworks on January 25th, 2023, HiFi Rush hit the market with nothing but a whisper and a couple of tweets. I checked it out, as I personally seek out any games that are rhythm-based. As a band nerd from high school, I like staying on rhythm on a controller, because we all know that my dance moves in real life can't do it. HiFi Rush has perfected the formula of melee combat for me. For fans of Kingdom Hearts 2, HiFi Rush plays similar, but you do it all in the rhythm of the world and song around you. There's literally a boss where you're fighting a giant robot to a tune from 9 Inch Nails. If that doesn't sound fun to you, I don't think we can hang out in real life. Everything feels lively in HiFi Rush. You unlock powerful combat moves, you have a parry system that rewards you the better you're on rhythm, and you're even given a grappling hook to extend said combos. Every level leading up to a boss fight gives you old PS2 vibes where you crash your way through a horde of enemies to face off against a big bad. Usually with their own unique music to reflect their personalities, and you do it with a lovable cast of characters that join your mission to take down the corporate overlords aiming to destroy the world around you. This game slaps the bass, and you should slap it too. I think I nailed that? Whatever, just go play it, man. Trust. The crowd goes wild! Chai, 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 chai. Number 2, Balers Gate 3. Larian Studios is quickly making a name for themselves in the gaming world. After putting out one of the best D&D-like games to ever grace our keyboards with Divinity 2, they were able to get their hands on the Balers Gate 3 IP and finally grace us with their vision for a complete D&D game. This game has it all. Orcs, goblins, clerics, bards, hentai sex scenes, and the list goes on. Throughout 3 acts, you'll uncover what exactly is happening at Balers Gate 3 while you and your party of 4 try to survive and stop the evil that is growing within. What path will you choose? What party members will you align with or betray? The possibilities are truly endless, and the possibilities get even more fun when you play online with friends. It is mind-boggling how different each playthrough can be based off of small decisions or a poor dice roll during an important segment. I love flowchart games, games that are able to adjust and change the story based on decisions. I will stand on a massive hill and yell about how great Detroit Become Human is, Telltale Games, and Until Dawn. I mean, it's a masterpiece to me. But Balers Gate 3, the ability to go with the flow and adjust with your decisions is straight up magical. I can't imagine what's going on underneath the hood of Balers Gate 3 to keep everything straight and running. There are some performance issues, especially towards the end of Act 3, that need to be cleaned up, but it's a small price to pay for a game that is so ambitious. Balers Gate 3 was one of the most hyped games of 2023, and Larian Studios delivered on all fronts. This is one of those games that you'll revisit over and over just to find every treasure hidden in the massive open world, and it will give you something. I know people that have spent nearly 500 hours already this year. Number 1, SpiderMan II. SpiderMan II is a perfect game to me. I already very much enjoyed Spider-Man 1 and Miles Morales, both of which continue to improve upon the superhero formula laid down by the late Batman games. Insomniac took the lessons they learned with Miles Morales by making the side quest more of a linear, tailored experience and married it with the rich storytelling they've excelled at for years. The result? A Spider-Man game that intertwines a story we all know and love, but adjusted just enough to allow Insomniac to make Spider-Man their own. The big bad, Kraven, is a menacing force and commands the screen every time we interact with him, and oh my god, that beard is beautiful. Venom is woven straight in the story, and when you get to that part with him, no spoilers, but it was nice to see Insomniac invested in how brutal Venom can be. Multiple villains pop up here and there for Spider-Man and Miles to deal with while the big bads orchestrate in the background. This is immediately noticeable with your opening fight against Sandman, which gave me God of War vibes. And can I just say real quick how much I love fighting massive enemies? It's so awesome that today's hardware can support the dreams of developers to create such iconic moments. The cast of characters all get their time in the sun, and even the Mary Jane sections have been cleaned up to be enjoyable. Would I have preferred to dodge out in the Mary Jane sections? Sure. Like, I love her as a character and appreciate her portion of the story, but come on, she's out here one-shotting folks over and over and over, and I'm just supposed to go with it? What is this, Call of Duty? The already impeccable web slinging has been upgraded to give more speed, more control, and more options to move around the city that was nearly doubled in size. Combat is free-flowing and more fleshed out at the expense of less gadgets, which was fine by me. I want to punch things. This is what a sequel should be. Building upon what already worked, and finding ways to level up portions of the game that may have been missed out on the first, and giving you a sequel that is deserving of the Spider-Man name. After spending roughly 25 hours on Spider-Man 2, I put my controller down and experienced my first time being annoyed at the game. And it wasn't because of anything the game did, it's because I have to wait a couple more years to play Spider-Man 3. It was that enjoyable. And if you have not had the chance to play it, I highly encourage you to do everything you can to get your hands on this masterpiece. Go borrow a PS5, go buy one right now. Hell, come on over to my house, we'll do a sleepover. I know I may have missed a few games, but honestly, who had the time this year? I do this for a job, and I can barely keep up with all the new products released. What do you think I missed? What should I pick up next? I heard there's a new Zelda out. Regardless, I think we can all agree that we were spoiled this year, and I encourage you all to take a few moments to appreciate what we are given. I highly doubt we'll have another year like this anytime soon. Hey, I'll see you guys next time.